That's loud, huh? Yeah, here we are. But anyway, hey, what's up, everybody? Not a full Big Gamer Small Talk podcast today. Next Gen was busy. I couldn't get a hold of Worry Wart, or I think Worry Wart's working, and I messaged Showstopper. He must be sleeping or something. I don't know, but I wanted to do something because a couple of things happened today. We got the NPD results for March, which I want to talk about because people are always like, hey, why don't you ever talk about when Sony wins NPDs? And I'm like, I do. I talk about it. I mean, there's kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but I'll talk about it. But something that I really wanted to talk about was, remember back when Sony had all these documents leak around when that movie, The Interview, came out or whatever, and there was some interesting things that happened with that leak. And one of the more interesting aspects was their kind of tie-in with some of the like really left-wing Democrats, and they actually, according to this, get into a bit of paying for favorable media coverage. Like, if look, I don't want to get it like real political or anything like that because people think, whatever. But basically, when you're using funds to lobby favored media, there's a problem there, and people are always wondering why none of this stuff stick. Do you remember, Mooch, how all this bad stuff come out, and then like 2 weeks later, it seemed like nobody was talking about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is how we've all been kind of beating around the bush lately and saying that we're well aware that Sony's not sending checks to the Destructoids and the IGNs of the world. We know that's not what's happening, but we knew something was going on behind the scenes. You cannot have 50 affiliates reporting news and every single affiliate be a humongous fan of one particular product or company. And we've seen this, especially start up just before the launch of the new systems. You saw it a little bit in early February when they had their early thing in February 20th of 2013. You saw that the media was camping out before, and there's a promotion. All these companies that we follow, the IGNs of the world, this and that, and blah, 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 they all have big companies that own them. And that's where the money gets filtered in. That's where the lobbying happens. And then it gets trickled down to the system till you see the pimpled kids that are on the podcast that we see every day. You know what I mean? And that's what the media pushes out. So, I mean, like I said, because whenever you have this conversation, someone's like, Mooch, really? You're telling me that Sony's paying these kids? No, Sony's not cutting a check deliberately to these actual people. But when you start seeing the set of IGN, all Sony TVs, Sony microphones, Sony this, Sony that, you wonder, where is this coming from? You know they're not going to go to the store and just pick these up. So, I mean, yeah, like you said, all this happens. It's all hush, hush, hush. And this is the kind of thing where now this WikiLeaks comes out, but really it brings back the whole issue that went on with the interview and that process. And we saw the racist remarks come out from Sony headquarters and president CEOs and emails, people's social security numbers, and all of that catastrophe. I mean, catastrophe was swept under the rug within a week. 2 weeks at maximum. And that was a big deal. It's a huge deal. You've had customers of just PS3, PS4, PSN owners all getting their accounts hacked and this and that going on. And there's all this corruption, and yet nothing at all. Then, not to make a funny out of it, but Microsoft, you know what I mean, has a power save issue on the Xbox One with Instant On. They correct the problem in 4 days, but it's national media. And like, this is what I'm saying. Like, no matter what, it's just you can't win. And now we know, with what we read today and what's come out over the past couple of days, is we're starting to see where this infiltration of like funds and money is going into and how it's trickling out into the media. It's
special interest groups, and for a lot of people that don't believe it or like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, just look at it this way, right? We all know that, and without getting into affiliations or anything like that, a lot of the Democratic or liberal media is like your CBS and you know what I mean, NBC. These places will more favor the Democrats and the liberals, and then a lot of people poke fun at Fox News because they're more right wing, right? And they, and it has to do with like special interest groups and things like that. So if Sony's paying into the Democratic Party and wanting favor through them, then obviously the media that's going to support and make the Democrats look good, make Obama look good, brush all the scandals under the rug and things like that, they're going to do the same thing for Sony. And so that's why you didn't really see like any of the other news stations, even when this big leak happened, it was all very just hush hush, swept under the rug. If you watched Fox News, you saw it a couple times. You know what I mean? Like that's where I saw it was watching some Fox News, and they were talking about it and how it was like a big deal. And then like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, you heard nothing about it. And I was wondering, man, what happened to this? You know, if that would have been Microsoft, we'd be, you know what I'm saying? We've been hearing about this still.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
We still get, like, when I bring up, hey, why is there still this bias? People still bring up 2013 DRM that never even happened as a reason why why it's okay to hate the Xbox. You know what I mean? It's like, that's completely ridiculous to me. And so I think that, and anybody that wants to say, hey, you know, where is the examples of this? This Destructoid thing for the March NPD, right, comes across Twitter. So it says, PS4 still the one true king, right? I mean, come on, March NPD, PS4 is still the one true king.
Yeah,
that's the headline. Come on, how about PS4 tops the charts or something like that? I mean, it's like just the headlines themselves are just like ridiculous.
Let's do some simple math, people. Everyone that's tuning in and who wants to send this podcast out to some people having a hard time adding. What we need to do is we've actually got to take a look at the year's results. And when you look at what's happened in the past 12 months, which is a good amount of data to look at, you've got, let's just be rough, okay? January through October, it wasn't like Sony won by 400,000, 500,000, 600,000. A lot of the months when they won, majority of them, they won by 50,000, maybe 100,000, maybe 20,000. Microsoft won November, and help me out here, November and December by ratios and number. We had like 400,000 one month they won by. It was at November or December when they took it.
It was like by both months it was almost 1 million. It was like 800, 900,000 between.
Yeah, so I knew between the two it would come to this massive number. Which, don't get me wrong, it's not about global sales. We're talking NPDs, and a lot of people who follow me on Twitter know that this is what I say. Crap kind of makes a joke of it. He calls me Captain America. But let's be honest, this is not me talking. Okay, this is business talking. And if you don't believe me, that the United States and the United Kingdom are the ones that actually, the UK are the ones that make up a lot of what really matters as far as financially.
Yeah.
Japan left their own country out. They launched in November here, but didn't launch till February of 2014 in their own country. So
because that place.
Yeah, it's not me speaking. But I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
Like they had plenty of units to be able to get them out over there. Don't listen to anything they're saying. So they could have if they wanted to go over there. The reason they hit America hard is this is a huge, huge market. You want to capitalize on this. Microsoft wants to win it too. So I mean, this is the whole thing with the big deal right now is winning US. In my opinion, the US and the UK. That's very important. And both companies are trying to do that. And I think that Sony has a lead, but the lead that you hear about when you look at the major number is global. And really, when you look at the demographic here and in the sales numbers of the UK, it's a lot closer.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Microsoft has to do whatever they can to stay competitive. I think they just dropped the price in the UK. Of the Xbox One. It's like, I don't know what the conversion. It's like the little their money sign $299. I'm not sure what that is.
If I saw it right, the conversion, I did a quick calculation. I think it's like $439 American dollars now.
Yeah, because they have all this VAT tax and stuff over there. So I know, like originally that people were paying. It was like $700 or something.
Right.
It was like it was just like a really outrageous kind of number. I don't ever see them raising it here back up to.
No.
They can't. They're already still lose. Although, like, people point out, they're still losing, and it's only $350. The PS4 is on sale everywhere as well. I mean, they're giving away 3 games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're doing it the old-fashioned way, which Microsoft was doing about 6, 7, 8 months ago. They're doing it with the bundles, and it's all over the place. Well,
I fully expected Sony to win February and March, especially because March they had Bloodborne and baseball. And what was funny was I was watching. Me and you were talking about this off air. Was that the honest trailers of Bloodborne, and they basically they're like making fun of it because it's basically Dark Souls 3, but they don't call it Dark Souls 3 because they want to fool people who hate Dark Souls into playing it. So if you call it something Souls, or you know what I mean, like Demon Souls or Dark Souls, it's going to scare people off. Because when I was at GameStop, there was like 15, 20 used copies there already. You know what I mean? So people get the game and they were thinking one thing, or because they made it seem like maybe it'd be a little bit easier.
Exactly.
And then from what I understand, it's pretty difficult. So that's a little bit of kind of misleading your people as well. So
absolutely. I mean, are we shocked? This is Sony's doing trickery with words and advertising. That's all this has been. This has been the hugest. And you know what? Maybe we should do a silent, awkward clap for Sony. I mean, you got to stop and think about it, crap. I mean, this is really something amazing. They have launched a system, okay, with barely any. The updates have been minimal, and they've bricked the system. They've got games such as Knack, Killzone, Infamous, which I don't care. Look, if we're going to sit here and you want me to put my hand on the Bible, that's fine. Infamous looks nice. That's where it ends. It's over right there. It looks nice. Everything else about it, I want nothing to do with it. And most people don't. So anyone that says they're having a good time with it, they're not having a good time with it. Honestly, the other thing is you mentioned returned games at GameStop. The 2 games they've had come out this year, The Order probably had a huge influx of pre-orders, and we all know that GameStop actually, I think, for the most part, was actually either rejecting at one point or giving such a low offer on the return rate it wasn't worth it. You could use it as a coaster for a better use. So you had that, and then now you have Bloodborne. Now, Bloodborne people aren't bringing back because the game's terrible. The game is too hard. People know what kind of game it is. It's not for the casual gamer, and when you're not hitting a casual crowd, you're hitting this hardcore. So you got to find a hardcore kid, and you also got to find someone who's willing to play a game for 40 hours and die 50,000 times.
Yeah, like I don't have time for that. People would always say, "Oh man, you should just get it." I would literally give up on it. Like to me, Dragon Age was time consuming. You know what I mean? If that game was difficult for me, you know what I'm saying? It was like I just want to enjoy the story, kick back, and that's why I gave up on Ori. Which did you end up giving up on Ori?
No, I'm almost done with it. The thing is here's the thing. So here's what's funny. A little bit about me is whenever I get pinged immediately to play a multiplayer game, like we've been on a Titanfall kick. You've seen me, crap. You've seen me on. Yeah. I've been on a Titanfall kick for about a week and a half, and I'm reborn into it, man. The game is fantastic. So every time I go to sit down and get into Ori, or I haven't even cracked Dragon Age yet because I tried to completely kill. I'm at 900 out of 1,000 achievements on Dying Light. I tried to crush that game, and then the minute I get started, I'm like, I want to play a game and just kind of get into something. Boom, a couple of buddies hit me up. We're playing Titanfall. I can't say no. So I jump right into multiplayer. Multiplayer will always steal me from a single-player game. Probably another good reason I'm an Xbox guy, because I don't like the talking into a can effect that PSN gives you for chat. And I don't, you know what I mean? It's just terrible. We
used to call that the McDonald's chat because it sounds like the drive-through guy. What's funny is Stinger on Twitter is IGN had a poll asking why you were getting a PS4. Then another poll why you weren't getting an Xbox One. I mean, that's what you're putting up with. I mean, honestly, that is exactly what you're putting up with. Not only that, but and it's I do want Microsoft to fight back. But look what happened when they get Tomb Raider. How did the media tear them down for that? And then you see the Star Ocean stuff, which I never even heard of. But it's Star Ocean.
People are talking about it. What is this?
Yeah, it's some kind of JRPG, right? I guess it came out last gen on 360 and PS3. I guess the 360 version was really bad because it was on multiple discs. It had a lot of frame rate issues.
Okay.
Because I was reading about it after that news broke. I'm like, what the hell is this game even about? I never even heard of it. And so I check into it, and I guess it sold really poor. JRPGs always sell poorly on the 3. Well, except for, a few of them, but.
No, they do sell poor on Xbox, and let's just be honest. We know, I mean, no one likes in 2015 the stereotype, but you got to look at the data, you got to look at the numbers, and the numbers all say that Microsoft is that first-person shooter, even third-person action RPG type of player. We know we're not the turn-based. Put your controller down, make a sandwich, decide to make a play later, pick up your controller. I don't know. Maybe that's just something they do over in Asia. I don't know. We don't do that here. It's not our style.
I want to make this clear, though. I don't think that Sony paying the media is why, the Xbox One just isn't, I'm not worried about the Xbox One selling as much. A lot of people are like, oh my God, you think, Microsoft is paying or Sony's paying the media and that's why the Xbox One's not selling good. No, I think it's a kind of calculated move, and the media almost wants to bury the Xbox One, in my opinion. It's to the point where people are like, why are you worried about it, crap? And I'm like, well, if I'm Microsoft and you got this new kind of direction. You've got a new head, a new CEO, and they did go through that phase where everybody hated the company. You know what I'm saying? For a long time. Now they're very open and transparent. You're talking about they're even giving free Windows 10 to pirates, right? You can, if you're a pirate, you can get a free version of this. I mean, it's not going to have all the features, but you can still, you know what I'm saying? So they're putting their products on iOS and Android. You know what I mean? They're being very open.
Well, I think people are underestimating the power of marketing and propaganda, and they don't understand that, we sit here and we try not to make a big thing of it on Big Gamer Small Talk. And if we do, I think we've been making a conscious effort not to, like Crap was just saying. It's not that the Xbox is going to be just fine. Okay. Regardless of this conversation, Xbox One is going to do just fine. It's beating its rivals at PS3 and its old competition, its own self, the 360 by 60%, 70% this turnaround. They're doing just fantastic. That's not an issue. But I mean, as far as what we were talking about with the WikiLeaks and this and that and everything else, when you have, there's a reason it's $25 million for a 35-second Pepsi ad during the Super Bowl. When you have this kind of exposure going on day in and day out, and it's worse in this case because every gaming media site has like 50 articles that go out on Twitter and Facebook and all these things all day long, not to mention YouTube. And they're just constantly, we all see it. Don't say you're not, even if you're a Sony guy listening to this, you can't say you don't turn on YouTube. And it was just like, I mean, really, we had a blood-borne blackout for 2 weeks.
We did.
Like
I never seen anything like it.
Have you ever seen anything like that in your life?
Nothing.
I mean, I think one guy's channel was called, I just got a PS4. I've never touched a game before. Watch me play Bloodborne. I was like, what in the world is that?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? I don't even know what and of course, does that have anything to do with lobbyists? No. But my point is everybody hops on these bandwagons and they want to feel like they're a part of something. And that big part of something right now is it's cool. Somehow it's cool to own a console that so far has bricked people's consoles with 2 software updates, has one game nobody even wants to play in The Order, which was one of their big things at E3 2013 and 2014, and a game that's so hard you can't get past the 4th level. I don't see where people are real, and even their games that are quote unquote beautiful have 3 or 4 NPCs on screen. At one time.
I'm playing Infamous Second Son, and it's a good looking game, but it's like the story is pretty meh, and you're right, the NPCs are very few and far between, and when they are there, they're not very intelligent, I guess the word would be, and even the enemy NPC are pretty lackluster, and also like this was kind of going to be a surprise because I'm in the midst of doing up a review for it, but I picked up Drive Club, and that game is probably one of, spoiler alert, isn't great. It's, it has no setting, no AI setting. There's no difficulty sliders. It's like they're just like, here you go, and the AI is terrible.
Talk about your opinion about the rain, and then I'll expand on it because I do agree with. Now I don't have it. Mine is all from just watching.
Okay. Well, I was like interested because people were like, oh man, it's got the best weather effects, the best rain. So I was like, okay, you set it up and you're racing, and what happens is, like when you play other games with rain and stuff, the rain usually goes to the side or one way or the other, but it's not coming right at you. The rain and the snow and stuff in this game comes right at you and sticks to the screen. So it's not like it's just there. It's like actually coming at you. So it makes it almost impossible to see when you're playing, especially if you're doing a night race and there's like some kind of precipitation or something like that. Then it's like, and that's why people are like freak out and think it's so good. If it didn't like stick to the screen, I think that it would just probably, people would just think it was average or something like that. Right. Because if you play Storm Island on Forza Horizon 2, the trees sway, the gust of wind push you off the track. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very interactive, but at least you can see, which is the important part of playing the game. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the whole thing. When you were saying that to me, that's what I saw. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll give credit where credit's due. They did a really good job of making that when it hits the screen perceived to be what it is, rain or snow sticking as it slowly melts away. But what it does do also is it takes away the rest of the game. So all you're seeing is the just like in a real storm, you're seeing the faded brake lights from the car in front of you or the cars in front of you, and you're seeing this constant hit in front of you. So what you're doing is you've really made a realistic windshield, and you've taken away the rest of the game. So I mean, it's, you always say you give something and you take something else away. Well, what they took away in that aspect is the game, and they gave you that weather effect. But overall, you take that little bit that they gave you on top of a game that's just a track that doesn't really have a lot of cars. It has almost no, like you say, no tune-up, no this to that. It's got nothing that, like, I mean, Turn 10. I really listen. I'm not a car guy. I do have Forza Horizon 2. I'm having fun because it's an open world kind of game.
Yeah,
but I can't wait to see what Turn 10 has in store with us for Forza 6. That looks
well, apparently they got some new engine or some new tech or something that they're supposed to have. So I'm really excited for that, and I think they want to redeem themselves after the launch game. Because obviously you're on a schedule. You got to get that. Props to them for getting a racing game out at launch. And it was still pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying? It was like Sony had that extra time for their game, and it still came out like crap and was broken, and it's still like it lacks content. It's like it's not a fun racing game. For me, it's like a racing game should be accessible because I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. It's not It's not a sim racing game. It's not an arcade. I don't know, but it's like you should have sliders or something to adjust something because you get penalties and everything. If the AI bumps you, that you get a penalized for that. If you accidentally like slide off the road a little bit, you get like a penalty and it slows you down. You know what I mean? It's like you get all these penalties and stuff, and it's like, there's no when you're driving. I have trouble with driving games without the line. You know what I mean? Like for me, like I just like that. Yes, it's noobish or whatever, but I like the line there. To at least have an option for that. You know what I'm saying?
When you're going to synthetic 145 miles an hour, and the thing like in Forza 2 where it is just perfect. I mean, there isn't any tearing. The game is silk, and you're going through to have that little bit of a line in front of you to see where you're going when you're trying to beat out a race. Look, you want to call it noob, call it whatever you want. That is a necessity as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Because I am concentrating on so many different aspects of the game that sometimes, even if you're doing the same track, I've done the same track to get first place. I wanted to get the podium win for first. I would just continue to do it over and over. But that little bit of a line, that little bit of a break that shows you that turn, I need that. Yeah, I mean, I need that. But then again, I'm not a huge car. Forza 2 was pretty much the first car game I think I've ever bought since 0.
And I was telling people, I was like, what Forza Horizon does is it can attract you and let you have fun with the game, even if you're not a racing fan. Because I was a Forza Motorsport fan, and Forza Horizon come out, and I was like, open world. I don't know for the 360, right? I got it, and I spent like 100 hours on it or more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't stop playing it. It was so much fun. And then when they announced Forza Horizon 2, which makes me excited for, and people might complain that they're doing every other year, but hell, they managed to put Forza Horizon 2 out after 2 years from the first one, and it was brilliant. I can't wait to see what they do next year because we're going to get a Horizon 3, and that's exciting.
Absolutely.
You can always count on them to have that AAA racing game, and that's something that I think is great. And I think that's a point of contention for Sony fans because they have yet to get a decent racing game out. They haven't had a decent racing game on PlayStation as an exclusive probably since the PS2 with Gran Turismo 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the last decent one because Gran Turismo 5 stunk. Gran Turismo 6 stunk.
Awful.
Drive Club is bad. I guess MotorStorm, one or two of those MotorStorm games are pretty good, but I don't really remember which one. But they weren't like sim racing, like this, like the off-roading stuff or whatever. But
well, it's funny you say that. I mean, let's in next gen's
call a spade a spade.
Let's call a spade a spade for a second here, okay? Like realistically, except for The Last of Us that came out in June of 2013, okay? What has Sony put out? When you speak to anybody, I've had plenty of conversations with Sony people on Twitter, and I'm like, please tell me, please sell me. What am I missing? And the first thing they say now is
Bloodborne,
is Bloodborne. But they'll say Bloodborne, the #1 game with the highest ranked Metacritic. I said, wait a minute. I don't need a line stat. I said, sell me. Like, what's the sales pitch? Like, if you were a salesman and you just open the door and you're like, hi, I sell Kirby vacuum cleaners. They're the best. And I'd be like, all right, get off my porch. Get out of here.
Yeah,
I know they're great. Get out of here. My point is they can't do – now, I want to flip the script here. I'm going somewhere with this. Let's just say the reverse roles were going on for 2015. Let's say this fall there was God of War, Uncharted 4, let's say Bloodborne didn't come out. Bloodborne's going to come out. We'll kind of quote-unquote call it a new IP when it's really Dark Souls with a new name. So we have those coming out, and then we had nothing but coming out this fall for Microsoft would be just Gears of War 1 and maybe a trilogy of Halo, or all 4 Halos, right?
Yeah.
That's all we had. People, what do you think the media would be saying right now? Microsoft is screwed. How are they going to be able to make it? There's no way they can do this. You're going up against their 3 big dogs. Now, let's come back to reality, everybody. Remember now. All right, put down the pipe. Listen, here's what's coming out. Okay, now we're back here in the real world. You've got Halo 5, which is not just, forget that it's the fan favorite for Xbox. Sales-wise, nothing Sony has can touch it. Then you have Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is a classic name game that is like we all
coming
know
off the most successful one, which was the reboot. Yeah,
that's just gravy on top. And then you have the Forza collection, Fable, rumored still, but we know we're getting something in the Gears family. Not to mention what's coming from Rare, etc., etc. My point is, and you know what the media says? Man, what is the quote? Because the true king is still reigning champ.
Yeah, PS4 is still the king.
Nothing to worry about, guys. You got a couple of remakes coming the rest of the year, and a couple of Tropicos, and and everybody's just like, everyone is just standing up with that.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like it's unbelievable how, and this is what we're talking about. All these back to the beginning is that there's just bias that's just building up. It's building up to the point where Sony doesn't have to do anything except slap a coat of paint on a 2013 game and send it out with the PS4, and everyone's like, you know what I gotta have? I gotta have that.
Yeah, and you know what? Microsoft isn't doing themselves any favors because, look, Phil's a classy guy, and I like Phil, and I think he's great for the Xbox brand. But when you're in like a dogfight, you don't go congratulate them. You know what I mean? Plus, I wouldn't be. He's like, well, congratulations, hard with a new IP. I'm thinking to myself, yo, Phil, that's not even a new IP. That's Dark Souls 3. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Phil Spencer's playing Dark Souls 3.
No.
I don't know. And to the Sony fanboys that are like, oh man, it sold 1 million. You got 22, 23 million consoles out there. You sell 1 million. That's still niche. You know what I'm saying? That's not like a super great thing. Every exclusive they have right now should be selling 2-3 million a clip. I'm not sure the percentage wise, but just selling 1 million worldwide. And they didn't even sell that here because according to the NPD charts, Bloodborne was number 2, Mario Party 10 was number 4. Mario Party 10 sold 290,000 copies. That's physical and digital.
Right.
And they landed at the number 4 spot. So here in America, you probably looking at Bloodborne selling 350,000.
That's what I said when I was tweeting out. I said 400 maximum.
Yeah, 400 would be the top. And then, there's not going to be a bunch of sales on that.
And that's it. Well, here's the other thing. We all know what Bloodborne is, and thanks to the 3 weeks of thanks YouTubers for playing the entire game 6-7 times over. That was great. But besides that, like literally they know what the game is now with the exposure. So that number crap really caps out at 400. It's not like somebody's going to come up in June and go, that's the game I was looking for, Bloodborne. I want that. Like nobody's going to say that. So they pretty much topped out right away. So my point with this is the number you saw from the U.S. In that first month, give them another 2 weeks or so here or there. That's it. It's over. Where I'll give you an example where I'm going with this is Sunset Overdrive. Sunset Overdrive, its first month. First of all, it came out with like 4 days left in October. So the NPD came out and it was kind of like we couldn't really get a good generated number because it was showing you October, but it was for 4 days. But Sunset Overdrive's numbers grew as the year progressed, and I think they're at somewhere in that little million or a little over 1 million now too. But my point is that they don't get any recognition. You know what I mean? Where when it all comes down to it, after a 12-month span, Sunset and Bloodborne are going to have the same sales numbers, but yet Bloodborne was the next coming of Christ, right? That was just so great.
Well, the interesting thing is Microsoft doesn't announce any kind of numbers. You know what I mean? I think that, and that's, I guess, at least you could say, well, at least that's kind of uniform with what they're doing, because they're losing. But on the other hand, I think software, at least when you hit that 1 million, you should at least say, hey, we hit this. Because
real quick, Crap, I want to talk to you. Our buddy Jamie Moran from the UK, shout out to him. He's a big fan of the show too.
Yeah.
He's got a couple tweets here that are awesome. He's saying basically the Sony fanboys right now are running the debunked rumor that the Battlefront is going to be a PS4 lead dev. We're going to find out. I think we're going to find out tomorrow when they have that quick reveal Depending on, I wonder if they're going to mention what system it's out, which one they're showing it on. That'll pretty much give you the idea of which is the lead. We've heard rumblings, right, Crap, that Battlefront is going to be a DX12.
That's the rumor that I heard, was that DirectX 12 enabled. I'm not sure about what we saw Battlefield Hardline running on. I'm not sure how they work that, because I think PC might be DICE's or Visceral's lead platform for most games, but I would assume that it's going to be Xbox. I don't know for sure.
I think if you hear or there's rumblings of DX12, let's leave PC out of it, because we're talking about consoles, right? They're going to have one be the one they port to first, and I think if it's DX12 they're going to use, why wouldn't they be dabbling with the Xbox One? By the time this comes out, that's months after Windows 10's release.
Not only that, yeah, but they've been doing EA's been showing off most of their games on Xbox hardware anyway, so
right.
I would assume that it's going to be Xbox. I heard it's going to be console footage. I know that.
It's going to be console footage, and I don't know. Of course, I'm only going on bits and pieces. Everything right now would lead me to think that it's going to be Xbox, but but look at what happened before the machines both came out in 2013. I'm not even going to drop his name. I unsubbed him on YouTube years ago. He has a pretty big channel, and he says, oh my God, he goes, as you can clearly see with this power and the way the popularity and the way that the pre-orders are going for console sales, Call of Duty is going to drop. Activision's going to drop their contract with Microsoft. It's definitely going to be a PlayStation 4. That's the console. The devs will be making the games for et cetera, et cetera. We all know that's been debunked. That's over. Microsoft has that contract in place, and Microsoft is not going to let go of that 800-pound gorilla. So that's not going to happen. And Microsoft's got its claws into the Division. And if the Division is anywhere near what they're saying, the Division is going to make Destiny look like some kind of Mickey Mouse game. You know what I mean?
I'm hoping it does, man, because Destiny sucks. That game's terrible. What's interesting, right, is like I haven't played that game, I think, since the first couple of weeks that it was out. And I still hear people talk about that game, and I'm like, I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Like, and sometimes I'm thinking, did I miss something? They're like, well, Xur and this and a raid, and I'm like, I guess I didn't do any of that shit.
No,
to me, it was like playing the same level over and over again.
Well, I kept reading everything. Everything that I was reading was saying once you get to level 20, you're going to really experience the game. That's what Bungie said. So I got to 20, and I'm like, now what do I do? They're like, now do everything again, and maybe you'll get a yellow scarf. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? I was like, come again? I'm not going to play this game for another 40 hours to get a blue baton. You know what I mean? Like,
you go down this road, and instead of going left, you go right, and that's the raid.
Right. And the raid's over there, right?
Yeah.
It's a tunnel of absolute hell. The characters, I'm not going to say that they don't look good and crisp and fresh. The enemies they made are okay, but the fighting was very good. It's polished. But just because a game is polished, it doesn't mean it can't be boring.
Hey, if that game would have had some good story and, you know what I'm saying, I would have been all – I made it actually, like it's weird how they did it.
Not like the raids are, not 3. You know how awkward 3 is? It's funny because, like, they say 3 is a crowd. That's not in gaming because I either have one person with me or I usually have 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying? You have there's always a good group of people, especially now with the connections. Xbox One online is – everyone knows I'm a huge Twitter fan. Xbox One online is Twitter. Like, I try to explain this to people when they're like, why are you so into the Xbox? The Xbox community and everything we have on Xbox is so diverse. It's so integrated with everything. And it's done so much better than again, I don't have a PS4, but I have a PS3. And I know that they haven't changed their UI. Their GUI's the same. And basically, it's not intertwined. It just wasn't built that way. And Xbox has been trying to take this social media approach. And I think I'll tell you something. I am so into the activity feed. How cool is the activity feed? I like to see what
I like it because I always scroll down and like stuff or check out what people like on mine or whatever. I totally dig it. Like I said, you feel really connected with the Xbox One online, not so much on the PS4. It's like the PS4 has like a sticky note system. Like this person did that. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
weird to me. You know, it's like it's not as fluid.
The
I don't
word
like
is,
it as much.
the way the PlayStation 4 does it, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's something like you. Really good example of crap with the Post-it note. It's like if I came by your desk at work and I just left a note like we went here,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, they're already at lunch. Oh, all right, you take the Post-it note, you throw it away. Who cares? But like the way Xbox does it, even if you did something hours ago, the way it's presented and it's right in my face to click click it and quickly watch what you did, and I can comment immediately on it, and I can see what everyone else wrote. It feels like it just happened. Even if it says 4 hours ago, it feels like it happened 3 minutes ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
I know exactly what you mean.
It's hard to put it into words. Anybody who's listening right now would understand what I'm saying. If you're an Xbox fan, and if you're a Sony fan, you're probably saying, what is that? And my recommendation is go check it out. Go buy an Xbox. You're American. Buy an Xbox. Okay? Where's my theme song?
Hey, that's true though. Like a lot of people that don't have an Xbox One, they don't know what they're missing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that. Yeah, it's not like a pitch. I'm not getting paid or anything. I think that it's genuinely the better console. It has the better game. You know, this is the thing, right? Each of these consoles, like a Nintendo. What's a Nintendo console without Metroid, Mario, Zelda? You know what I'm saying? Right. Those are the games that they're known for. What's a Xbox console without Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, right? What's a PlayStation console without, I guess Uncharted, God of War, Jack and Daxter, Gran Turismo? I guess those would be the big four for that. You know what I'm saying? Or something along those lines. Or even if you wanted to go back just one generation, Resistance or something. But where are those games for the PlayStation? There's none. This year, if we get a Gears game, you're going to have Microsoft's 4 biggest franchises coming to the console this year, in addition to a Tomb Raider, and you know what I'm saying? And also, there's some really good multi-platform games coming out this year as well, so it's like you're going to get to play Battlefront on Xbox Live, where you're not going to have to worry about, maintenance and being down all the time. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have the really functional online. You're going to have Call of Duty. Well, I'm not interested at all this year in Call of Duty, but
no, actually, I was actually, here's the thing. You want me to make lemonade out of lemons? The minute they announced it was going to be, was it Black Ops 3?
Yeah.
I'm like, great. Don't need to worry about that.
That's exactly what I said. Cause people were like, oh man, Halo is coming out right around Call of Duty and Battlefront. I'm like, I'm getting Halo and Battlefront. I was like, that gives me 3 weeks in between. I'm not worried about Call of Duty because I'm tired of exosuits and jumping around and jetpacks and all that weirdo stuff.
I heard a rumor that Treyarch was they've heard so much bad press about the exosuits that they've pulled it out of Black Ops 3. That's what I heard. It's rumor. Don't quote me.
Well, like my original thing is, right, and I would talk more about Call of Duty. I bought every single one. My clan was, we were a top 50 clan on multiple Call of Duty games on game battles. I mean, we were really into this game back when it was good, like Call of Duty 4, World at War, Black Ops, the first one, Modern Warfare 2. We were a top clan in all those games. Then they started getting weird. It's like if you want, you have 3 developers. So why have the past 3 games all been future? Ghost was in the future. Yep. Black Ops 3 is going to be in the future. Advanced Warfare is in the future. Even Modern Warfare 3 was, a little bit futuristic for my like. Yep. Like the best ones, give me an M16 or MP5, some UAVs, give me a easy kill streaks, and quit trying to make things so complicated. It's like I played Advanced Warfare, and I loved the campaign of that. I thought they did a great job. It was a good story.
Me too.
It was fun. But I dabbled with the online for all of 25 minutes because people are jumping around like fucking, you know what I'm saying, like crazy. Right. And like there's a place for that, but Call of Duty, when I think Call of Duty, that's not it.
Well, again, spinning this in a positive route, there's a reason that Microsoft is launching. They wanted to launch Halo 5 in October. They wanted to get a good jump on Call of Duty. Now, here's the thing. I think a lot of people feel the way we do. I spoke to a lot of people that work with me, people that have Xboxes, and some people said they're still going to buy Call of Duty just because, like we've all said this, a lot of sites say this. People just buy Call of Duty because it's Call of Duty.
You know what I mean? It's pop culture.
Like sometimes even put it into layman's terms. How many times do you go grocery shopping and you just buy an extra thing of milk? You don't even know if you need it. You know what I'm trying to say? You're just like, I'll grab some milk. I know I'm gonna drink it eventually. The point of the matter is, it's just something you need. I think with gaming, a lot of people are going to say to me, whoa, Mooch, that's not exactly how I go down with this. That's fine. But what I'm trying to say to you is it's a game you can always feel comfortable. You pop in, if you got 2 or 3 buddies online, you can always jump into a game. It's that comfortable. It's that, home feeling. You can always go back to Call of Duty. So, but what I'm saying is, by it being Black Ops 3, this gives the Halo name another chance to really take over the multiplayer experience and be that shooter that it was back with Halo 2. I think this is a very good chance. You put the new franchise, the new machine, the new software, DX12 is going to be on it in some way, form, or fashion. I don't know if it's going to be something to our eyes or it's going to be something with form and function, but you're going to have that, and then you just advertise the shit out of it. And between those 2, 3, 4 things that Microsoft can really do, I think, I'm not saying it's going to beat Call of Duty, but it can give Call of Duty a run for its money. And to be on one platform, that's amazing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think that, somebody at Activision has got to be like, damn, what are we doing? 3 straight futuristic games, like, wow, what happened to the Modern Warfare games?
Right. Well, I'll tell you right now. Why did
what they could do that would sell me was package all 3 Modern Warfare games in a remake. You know what I mean? Give me some servers and not, and I'm there. But it's because it's like I'm so sick of Black Ops 2 was terrible. I couldn't stand it. It was so bad. And then Advanced Warfare.
The problem with it was cartoony crap. That was the problem with it, in my opinion.
It's like when you start doing stuff where you can see through walls and shit, I forget what that was. Ghost, the one where they didn't even have a standard UAV. It was like you needed 3 people to have that little thing that they set out, and then you had a UAV. Nobody was running with that thing. Exactly. You know what I mean?
If you want to really look at what the successful Call of Duty was, it was Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 3. So does it need to go back to World War II for some people that are listening saying, maybe I don't want that? I personally would love to go back to World War II.
Why doesn't Treyarch do – I remember when that was rumored it was going to be World at War II. I was like, yes. I was like, please just make it so simple. I was like, there's not going to be any weirdo shit in there. There's not going to be like some nuke. It's just going to be like mortar strikes, UAV, give me a bayonet. You know what I'm saying? I was really excited for it. I was like, yes, why not, Treyarch do World War II. Well, then you said you could do Infinity Ward, do modern, and then let Sledgehammer do advanced stuff or future stuff. You know what I mean? That way,
every 3rd year you're in the mood for that gadget or gizmo that's really cool from the future. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Treyarch could surprise us all and bring Black Ops 3 back to before Black Ops 1. Remember when they kind of did a little bit more of that JFK era? It was the 60s, it was Vietnam. That's the kind of impression I got, was more of that like jungle warfare. So they could still maybe go back, not as far back, but they could do the 60s, 70s thing again. That would be pretty cool. Because remember, I think when you were doing the, what's it called there, the zombies, you were like, and don't quote me because I'm not big into the zombies thing, but it was like I am in zombie genre, but not the zombie game in Call of Duty. That's just like a really quick horde mode that doesn't catch my attention. But you could be like, I don't know if you could have been JFK, or you could have been Nixon. Remember that when you were like doing those things? It was pretty cool to be able to bring it back to that era. That may get a little bit of attention if they go back there. But if they keep doing this futuristic thing, I think you're going to lose. I think they're going to lose some people this year. I really do. And with Halo 2 weeks before, it's Halo's shot, because there's nothing.
Well, Call of Duty has steadily been losing people, but they're still. Advanced Warfare was still number 5 on the NPD for March. You know what I mean? Because it's still, people are still going to buy it, and it's one of those games that like you said, it's pop culture. People are going to buy it just because it's Call of Duty, and a lot of the casuals that only buy a few games a year. And this is a true thing. If you don't have a lot of money, you could get Call of Duty, and that's going to keep you going all year long. Basically, you're going to have something to do. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. That's that comfort. That's that comfort I'm talking about, where you plunk $60 down in November, and probably, if it's anything like my group of friends, from November till almost early March, I know that I just keep the disc in there, and if I just kick on, the minute I kick my Xbox on, there's like 10, 12 people playing. I can always jump in. Then it kind of loses its steam come February or March. But it's the nostalgia of coming home. I remember I used to do a lot of the midnight launches too. It was fun.
I used to go to the Call of Duty ones there, and you have a good time.
Crew. It was great too because it always launches. Think about it. It launches around football. It's football season, and it always launch on Tuesday. So me and my buddies, we'd always go out and grab some burgers, a couple beers over at like a bar, watch Monday Night Football. And as soon as Monday Night Football was over, head over and get in line. And it was just funny. You know what I mean? It was a good time. Everyone was kind of cracking jokes. We made a thing about it. But I mean, at the same time, now that whole nostalgia is kind of gone, and now you have online ordering, which is great. Don't get me wrong, it's great. But like, I think you're going to see that whole, you take a little piece away each time, Crap, and I think you'll see that warm, cushy feeling that you got with that game every year kind of just dissipates. Which
yeah, dude, like each one, like not to give away like the no life status here, but you know how it tracks your days, right? On the game, I put 33 days in Call of Duty 4. Then I put on Modern Warfare 2, it was like 22, something like that. Then Modern Warfare 3, it was like 13. You know, I liked it. I think World at War, I put in like 14 or 15. I'm not sure how it tracks it. I'm not sure, you know what I mean, exactly. Right. So, but it's something, you know, like Call of Duty 4 was my thing. You know what I mean? Like, I used to stay up like all night playing that, you know, I'd like shirk my responsibilities and shit, you know what I'm saying? Just have fun with that game. I mean, I was like, I lived that game. It was like, we would play it all the time. I had a clan of like 100+ people. We were all in that game all the time, you know? Yeah, and then they started getting too complicated for their own good. You know what I mean? It was like you had 3, 5, 7 as the kill streaks, and then that wasn't good enough. So they kept adding other things. Okay, I get it. But then they add like the weirdest stuff, you know, like this overpowered stuff where people would just camp. And then they were like, well, we're going to take away camping, but they never did. All they did was take away your things like the UAVs where you can see the campers. You know what I mean? It was like the Call of Duty 4 was so great because you had stopping power, which helped you kill faster, or you could go with the dead silence jammer class. You know what I mean? So you had to give up one thing or the other. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like, you know, they could just get away with whatever, you know, and it doesn't matter. It's so unbalanced, and it's unfortunate. Like Call of Duty 4 to me was the most balanced.
Absolutely.
You know, it just was. It was the most fun. You know, it was like
it was also refreshing. You know what I mean? It was really refreshing. Because don't forget, you were at the time that Call of Duty came out, the Modern Warfare, when the one you're talking about, when that came out,
that was when
2 generations of World War II games had already come out.
Yeah, everybody was like, "Oh man, we're so sick of World War II games." That's how it goes, you know. Everybody was doing World War II games. Then everybody started doing modern stuff, you know, because it's the war on terror. You know what I mean? So, you're doing that. So I would just love for some of these, you know. And the thing is, I'm not a Battlefield guy, right? Like, I tried to play Battlefield, but it's like to me, it's like to me. When you play multiplayer, there's like so many people. I never know what's going on. You spawn in, then you're running to some kind of thing, and I get sniped or hit by a tank or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I'm just not into that. You know,
2 people, all of a sudden a plane lands on your head.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not exactly fun to me. I mean, you know, bless whoever wants to play those games. That's fine. I can see why they like them.
The strategy in those types of games are phenomenal. I mean, that's the one thing. But I got to be honest with you. You know, like a lot of people are different types of gamers. Type person I am. I come home, got my family, things like that. When I play, I just want to get on, kind of jam out for a while. If you want to get into a story or something like you're saying, like a Dragon Age, that's cool too. But I don't really have the time to sit there and be like, you know, like red team left. You know, I can't do that shit right now.
Well, you know, what's interesting for me is like my favorite game mode in Call of Duty is domination. Like I like the strategy aspect. You got 6 versus 6. A lot of people are like, I don't like that, man. Give me 64 people or what. I'm like, I don't want that many people. You know what I mean? I have enough damn problems with 6v6. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I play with my team, you know, it's like, you know, Call of Duty, we have our strategies. It's locked down. You know, you lock down B. That my old thing was, I used to, you know, I was like their parents. I'm like, B is home. Like I had that in so many people's head that they used to make fun of me for it. B is home. Remember, crap game. B is home. You know what I'm saying? Like that's your fucking home. Don't stray from B because they can only spawn at A or C. Meaning we can get one or the other really fast. So make sure you set the core group at B. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that was the whole thing. And then what they started doing was changing the cutoff path. Like you had like a million ways to get to you. So you couldn't really effectively set up like a blockade or anything. You know what I mean? It was like they started making the maps like giant. When you got a 6 versus 6 game, Call of Duty 4 maps were perfect size. You know what I mean? Those small to intermediate size maps. Then they started making these giant maps where it's still 6v6, so you don't see anybody for 10 minutes. You know, it's like that. Like I could point out all day. I could talk about Call of Duty because I love the game. I have them all, man. I got them on. I have them all. You know, I've got them. I've got Call of Duty 2, 3, 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3,
Yep.
Black Ops 2.
Yeah,
Those
this
are
is the
all on
first.
360. Yeah, and then I
I
have
actually feel
Ghosts.
taboo saying it. Like, this is the first year I'm not buying it.
Yeah, exactly. And I've said that last year
Crazy.
too, but I ended up buying Advanced
Me too.
Warfare.
So did
But
I.
you know what? I bought it. I didn't buy it at launch for the first time though. I remember
did.
I waited like a couple weeks, and then I think I saw it on sales. Like they did a sales like $40 or $44 or something. But what I did with Ghost
I paid full price.
what I did with Ghost was, because that came out on 360 before the Xbox One launched. I bought it on 360, and then when I bought my Xbox One, that you know how they did that trade-in thing.
Yes.
So I beat it. I got all the achievements I could on the 360 version, got a feel for the game. Then I went and traded it for the Xbox One version when I got my Xbox One, and got all, doubled up on the achievements and stuff on that as well. So I did that. And, I don't know, man. It just pisses me off, like a game franchise that I used to love. And actually, like, I'm not a big zombie fan on there, like a lot of people are. There was only one that I liked, which was on Black Ops 1. There was the Call of the Dead zombie where they had George Romero. And like some of the act, that was me and my friends and my brother, we played that for hours, man, just getting to like level 28, 29, 30, something like that. That was like the toughest one.
Yes.
Yeah, and it had the machete guy. I forget what the hell his name is. And it had Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger.
Robert Englund was on there.
Yeah, and it had Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like, that was the funnest one. That was amazing, And then you had, because it added a cool aspect, like, where Romero's walking real slow after you, you know what I mean? And like, if you accidentally shoot him or whatever, he like runs really fast after you. It was like crazy, that was fun.
Yeah, my problem with those games was I played them for a while. I never got where the hell to go, because I would always play was like, out of the four of us, one person knew everything. One of my friends was like, he crushed that. And the rest of us were all like, so I used to say to him, hey, where do we go now? Where do we go now? Like, we've taken on the first couple of hordes. Do we move inside? Do we start to go over here? And he's like, well, you don't have to. You can. You don't have to go over there. If you want, you can go inside. So I'm like, well, what do we do? Like, you can't just keep standing. Nobody ever had direction. That was the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we got to go over here.
What I used to hate about it was everybody was so stingy with the money to unlock areas, right? Because everybody wants to hoard their money so they can pack-a-punch their weapons. Yeah. Right. So they like, open this way. Well, no,
you don't really do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I got some interesting breaking news here. So Madden NFL 16 has immediately right now decided to have a release date for their game. It's coming out August 25th. Now, is that a big deal? No, but isn't that odd that the way that it's presented right now in the media, it sounds like they're doing it rushed. We all know it's end of August. There's no surprise there.
Yeah.
But they put the date out. You think it's because they got an idea that they're going to have a little competition and maybe they wanted to get it out a little?
It could be. And what's funny is I don't know if you saw it on Twitter. I was having a little friendly debate with some Xbox dudes on Twitter about this Montana thing, because people are like, Microsoft won't go after the license because they have a relationship or a partnership with EA.
Yeah.
And my whole aspect between this argument is this. Do you know what partnership means? It means Microsoft pays an assload of money for any kind of perks that they get, right? I mean, Microsoft partnership with Activision for Call of Duty is them paying an assload of money to get maps a month early.
That's
what I mean? That's the partnership. It's not they're not friends. They're not, you know what I'm saying? Then Activision can turn around and still have a quote-unquote partnership with Sony with Destiny, because Sony's paying a buttload of money for it. That's their partnership.
Yeah.
Sony could still have their own space-type shooter like that if they wanted to, and it's not going to piss off Activision because, first of all, that's multi-platform, Destiny is, and exclusives don't really bother them much. Second point that I would make is this. EA probably wouldn't care because it would only be on Xbox One and PC. There's no Madden on PC anyway, and despite the quote-unquote partnership, the Xbox One version of Madden was only the third best-selling one because the 360 version led all sales on that. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so it's not really going to hurt them that much. In my opinion, EA needs Microsoft much more than Microsoft needs EA as far as that concerned.
That was exactly. I had a conversation playing on Xbox the other night with a few folks. We were just having a roundtable discussion about it, and those were the words I used. I said everybody's got to stop and just breathe and look at who we're talking about. Who you don't think EA makes software? Yes, they have a big say, and yes, they are a powerful software publisher. But at the same time, they're nothing without the Microsoft, or in certain cases, Sony hardware. They need to play that disc, or that software has to be directly downloaded onto something. So my point being is EA needs Microsoft a hell of a lot more than Microsoft needs EA. EA is more than happy to do anything. Like you said, they're paying buttloads of money towards EA for these exclusive maps and timed exclusives. And look at EA. EA's had certain deals in the past, relationships with Sony. Sony white glove smacked EA, saying EA Access isn't worth the money.
Yeah.
Is EA not gonna port games to Sony anymore because of that humiliation? That was humiliating. That was really a slap in the face to EA. EA's still gonna release Battlefront on PS4. They don't care.
Yeah, they in fact, when Plants vs. Zombies came out, I think they gave it to them for free for a day or two or something like that. It was like, you know what I mean? And that was after that fact. So it was like, it all comes down to money. It's business. And I'll say this, and I'll be pissed. It's hard to see me pissed at Microsoft, but if they're foolish enough to not have the NFL license, then they're going to look terrible, because the media is going to roast them. The fanboys are going to roast them. Even the fans are going to roast them, because that is not going to work. We've already had a handful of games without the official license, and they don't work. People want to play as their favorite teams, man. I don't want to play as Joe Bob for the Ponies. You know what I mean? I want to play
I don't want to play as Bob's Furniture House.
Yeah, exactly. I want to play as the actual characters in the stadiums and things like that. If you're investing in Unreal Engine 4 and Joe Montana, and you're actually mocapping that man and, doing all this stuff, and it's as good as looking as you say it is, and you got Joe Montana. Did you hear about that? Joe Montana was actually at the Redmond campus, right? And he went to a meeting, and Mike Ibarra on Twitter was like, man, I just had an exciting meeting, obviously hitting around that Joe Montana's there. In fact, Major Nelson tweeted out today that they're doing E3 meetings, and they stopped to watch the Force Awakens trailer.
Yes.
So Joe Montana, they were probably having meetings yesterday too, meeting with Joe Montana and, getting all this stuff out there. So I think that would be huge if they get this Montana game going. And to the best of my knowledge, there is the loophole with the exclusive publishing thing, and hopefully they take advantage. Well, there's always been some non-clarity with when EA re-signed their deal. You know what I mean?
I heard you and Next Gen going over it when you guys did a one-on-one the other night. I was trying to catch what you guys were saying, and it was still unclear. I mean, we don't know. They just kind of shadily re-upped it.
Yeah. EA was like, for years or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
But
a lot of times it happens in sports, where you'll have what they'll call like a lame duck contract. You'll get another year addition. So is this one of those things where EA locked down another 5 years, or where EA is just going year to year right now at the NFL?
Yeah, or they lock down maybe just the multi-platform deal or what have you. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's a situation where they have full rights over everything, And I think that's there needs to be some competition out there. And just imagine this real quick. Let's say it's an NFL game, and it does well for Microsoft. I could see them doing a baseball game in the future as well, because they used to have NFL Fever, and you know what I'm saying?
Well, they're doing the right thing with pairing up with 2K, because the one thing that Next Gen was saying that's right now, NBA 2K15 basketball is huge.
Yeah.
A good half of my friends all have it. And they'll say to me all the time, they're like if Titanfall or playing Call of Duty, I'm like, they'll say, Mooch, we're going to play at like 10 o'clock. And I'm like, can we make it 10:30? They're like, no problem. I'll just get a couple quick games in of 2K. So 2K's already got the audience. People already believe and trust in their product, so we know they're going to make a great looking game. That's a great company.
Well, what's interesting to me is, right, like I have EA Access, and I was like, I'll download NBA Live 15, right?
Yeah.
Because I haven't really played a basketball game in forever. Man, those games are so complicated now. It's like you go through this tutorial, right? It's like, move the thumbstick this way and that. Press this button, this button. I'm like, what happened to just moving the controller and pressing X to shoot? You know what I mean?
It's not NBA Jam anymore, crap.
Yeah, holy crap, man. I felt so old. I was like, holy crap.
I miss double dribble.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap, dude. And then I played an exhibition game, and I was losing by like 40 points before I knew it. I couldn't hit anything, man. I couldn't do anything.
I got NBA 2K. I bought 14. basketball. I love the sport, love watching the sport, but I don't play basketball. Like literally, NBA Jam was probably like the last time I ever played a basketball game, like legitimately on a
Yeah.
console.
Oh, I love that game. That
That
was
game was
awesome.
hysterical.
Yeah.
But like my friends all play 2K, so I was like, all right, I'll get 2K. I picked it up, and like you said, it's like you have to take the left analog stick and do like a half semicircle pull back switch. I'm like, dude, I can't do this. I'm like, I don't understand it. And they're like, oh, if you don't get that, just press the X button and hold it into release. And that wasn't working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like the dumbed down
You
version.
have to time it. Yeah, you have to like time the jump on NBA Live. It's like, okay, press the button and then right at the top of the, release it. I'm like, okay.
Hold it, let it go.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, this is, and I think that, it was an okay game. It's like, I forgot about that they added like UFC and stuff to there. So,
right.
I was downloading some of that stuff today too because
I'm about to download NHL 15.
I'm downloading that too. Like, you know what? I think EA Access is really good, especially if you like sports games and can wait for them because you're going to get them towards the end of the year anyway. You know what I mean? Like, normally those are $60 a piece or whatever. And so you still get them when they're relevant.
Well, I mean, let's talk about, let's like they say, it is what it is, right? Look we're getting NHL, and NHL is just about to go into playoffs.
The playoffs, yeah.
It's extremely relevant right now. To play a season right now with your favorite team for free. Or for $2 a month, excuse me.
Yeah, and not only that, but even like the Madden stuff. Like I like Madden 15. Like I think I saw a video where Hip Hop Gamer kind of hit it on the head with Madden is good every few years.
Yeah.
And he was right. He's like, there's 1 year where it's like, yeah, it's okay. Then this year it's like, yeah, it's really good. I thought the 25 last year's was terrible. It wasn't that good. This year's, the 15s, was really good. The only problems that I have with it is I wish that they would do the achievements more for the franchise. Well, they don't have a franchise mode. It's connected career now, which is kind of annoying. But I think that, I wish they would add it more like, yeah, you win the Super Bowl, you get 100 gamer score, because that's how they used to do it. You know what I mean? Now it's like it's kind of complicated. You can only get like 150, 200 just by playing kind of normal through your career or whatever. It's not like as much as I would normally like because you got to invest a lot of time in that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I'm not like an achievement whore, but if I'm playing, a game for 4 hours and I'll get no achievements from it, that kind of annoys me. So like anytime I know I'm going to invest in Madden, I'll play a game that I know I can get an easy like 50, 100 gamer score really quick, and then I'll play Madden so I don't feel as ripped off.
Again, Next Gen said it, I think, a couple of episodes back, but like my biggest gripe with like the Call of Duty is they don't give any achievements for online play.
Yeah,
that's what deters me from some of these, these games to play them longer. That's what I love about. I mean, Titanfall is only online, so it's kind of a catch-22. But like with it being online, every time I kick it on, like I get like crazy achievements on Titanfall, and it's like it's rewarding to continue playing the game this far. Well over a year in its age.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really those are the types of small things that I think they need to add. Also, that is something I thought would have happened with Next Gen, is we would have seen a little bit more multiplayer achievements going on, like in the first person shooter world.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know what? Activision came out and said why they don't do that is because people boost.
Right. That's true.
Apparently you can pre-order The Witcher 3 for $54 on the Xbox One game store right now.
Really?
Yeah, someone just tweeted me that. So that's
I saw that, but somebody tweeted it, but they tweeted it with a question mark, meaning like, really? And I'm like, I don't know. I saw it.
Somebody just tweeted that to me right now with the Xbox Store thing. You can pre-order. I have it pre-ordered, but I buy physical. So
this is going to come off as a wise ass question, but crap, maybe you can help me. What am I missing with Goat Simulator?
I have no idea even what that is. It sounds pretty stupid.
It was massive on the PC, and now as of right, it just launched. Raj Patel just tweeted out, Goat Simulator is now available on Xbox One. Apparently, it looks like the sandbox created in GTA 5, but you're a goat.
You know what? I think it reminds me of that game Pain, where you're just like hurting the guy on purpose or whatever. You like, I guess you can hit the goat or throw the goat. I don't know, man.
But I mean, the fact that this even gets the news it gets, like the first time I ever saw it, like a year and a half ago or so, when it was coming out on PC, and I just saw it in the gaming media news. I'm reading about it, and I was like, I go, wow, this must be just somebody in the garage just tinkering around, this and that. And then it just blew up. And now there's everything simulator.
Well, it's real fashionable too with these weird indie games, because of Sony. It is like that's when I think I heard about it. Same thing with the hell is that damn game? Octodad, and now it's on. I think it's on Xbox One as well now. But it's like, remember, like Sony dedicated a lot of their like E3 and stuff to this game. You know, like it was something special.
I think it's because we grew up like playing so many games between. Like I said, we don't need to go through the nostalgia list again, but we went from Coleco till today. I've been playing. So when I see a lot of these indie games, you know, sure, I'll tip my hat to them and say, yeah, some of them look cool. That's neat. Yeah. But like when you see some of the younger people being like, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I'm like, dude, that's an 8-bit game. Like, why are you excited about an 8-bit game? Like,
and I'll tell you exactly, the younger people, just like what you said, and this is what I say to that. I'm like, well, you know what? I played the original version of that game that before they tried to knock it off. You know what I mean? That's basically what they're doing. They're playing knockoffs that aren't even as good as what the originals were.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's you know, and like I said, there's still some variations. Like I liked iDarb, you know, like I liked the you know, because it had an online aspect.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there was a couple.
The game that actually made it and broke it for me, like 1, 2, 3 punch, was I was kind of super excited back when Super Time Force came out. I think remember I was telling you about that.
Yeah.
I liked it, and I really did, and I still think it's semi pretty polished.
They tried to make that so difficult, though.
Yeah,
you know,
they purposely ramped up the difficulty to the point where I love. I'm truly, and I'm not saying this crap because you came out saying the opposite. I'm enjoying Ori like unbelievable. It really does remind me of a little bit of the youth when we were younger, like playing in this types of game where you kept trying to do things over, but like you really can succeed. See, Super Time Force to me, they purposely ramped up the difficulty, and by the way, while they ramped it up, they extracted the fun right out of it. Like there's so much shit going on in one frame where there's 85 of my own character, not to mention the million 8 megabit, like, or excuse me, 8-bit pixels of like enemy fire coming at me at the same time. The screen is just a mess and you can't even get past it. Like, so they ramped it up to the point where they extracted the fun out. But nonetheless, it was a good game. It's good for what it was, but and that's the whole thing with the indies. Again, I think it's because of the era we grew up in. Like the indie games that are coming out now, and some people are finding them amazing. I'm like, but you don't understand. Like I eagerly go out and buy a new generation box because I want to get as far away from the 8-bit and 16-bit world as possible. I played that shit for 12 years, you know, each gen of my life. I want to go do something else. Like I don't want to sit there and play, you know, Octodad or Super Time Force. Like that's fine if they're available for me. That's fine. They're there. There they are, and put them in the store.
It feels a need. It feels a need for sure. But
advertise it in my face.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's kind of how I like the Xbox a little bit better. Like they release this stuff and then boom, it's out. There's not a whole bunch of fanfare. They're not like throwing it out on the screen. You know what I mean? 24/7. Hey, let's waste a lot of time. It's like today was a big deal that Sony's re-releasing Journey and Flower and something else in 1080p. You know what I mean? Like on the PS4, it's like, okay, great. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? You know, I'm not really interested in that. The big news I'm interested in is seeing the Battlefront reveal tomorrow.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I mean, it's the AAA stuff that really interests me. I'm like, it's not that you can't, like I said, like remember last gen, we didn't call them indies, but it was like, you know, I remember liking Castle Crashers. I thought that was badass, you know, and I guess that would be considered an indie, right? But it was like they only let the best ones in. You know, that was like an arcade game. You know, I liked it like that. Now it's like indies are just, you know, there's a goat, you throw it, or you know what I mean? It's like it's stupid. I don't. I don't understand the fascination with this stuff, or like Nidhogg or this. It's like, you know, I have these games on.
You remember? Oh, before you forget, crap, you just said that Nidhogg. I saw that. Do you remember that game when we were kids? It was just like 2 square blocks running at each other. It was called Joust.
Yeah.
That's what Nidhogg is, but now you can chase each other. Where on Joust, it was a 1988 like arcade game, and you could only go left and right, and the screen didn't move. But
yeah, Nidhogg looked like an Atari game to me, like an Atari 2600 game. Like it does not look good at all. It's like I'd rather play Boom Ball for Connect, You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Football too.
Which I actually have that game, right? And I was playing it.
That's
It's
a game
Breakout.
that's great for Connect. It is great.
Yeah, it's Breakout. It's super Breakout. You know, you hit you blow up. Yeah, I was like playing it. I was like, because I had like, I had bought Ori and a couple other digital games,
Yeah.
and so they deposit money in your account or whatever, and it was on sale for $5, and I got it. So I was like, I'll play it or whatever. It was actually pretty fun. I thought it was that's what the Connect needs to be doing, like those like moderate $10, $15 games. Like I still want to get Fruit Ninja Connect 2 because I like the first one a lot.
Yes.
But I think that, obviously they're not going to put a lot of focus on that, even though they say they are. But what I'm interested in is, like I said, the Battlefront reveal tomorrow. Turns out that's coming out November 17th, they say. Are you a Star Wars fan at all?
Absolutely. I'm not nearly like, worry, but
man, when I first did my first podcast, it wasn't Big Gamer Small Talk. It was me and Worrywart, and we talked about Star Wars for like 2 hours.
I know. I think I saw it.
It was like the nerdiest thing ever, but it was like great because, we were both just like really into it, and like seeing that trailer today just really gets me excited. He's like one of those fans though that like doesn't really like the newer trilogies. Me, I'm a little bit younger, so it's like, I thought the older ones were kind of boring back in the day when I was a kid. It wasn't until episode 1, that I started, because it was more actiony. There was like fast lightsabers, you know what I mean? And then, episode 2, I wasn't a big fan of, but episode 3, I was like a real big fan of, you know what I mean? It was like, and those were like the ones that I saw. I think that the older people that maybe witnessed the Star Wars like from the 70s and 80s who saw those when they were maybe kids at that time, they're the ones that don't like the newer ones because they were a kid and it was nostalgic and it was great. It was that fresh feeling. Whereas me, I saw the newer ones, and so I have that feeling, you know what I mean, for those. And like people like will hate on that for whatever reason, but I actually love, I've come to like all of the whole saga.
Right.
I think it's great. So seeing what they did today impressed the hell out of me, and it was cool seeing Han Solo and Chewbacca.
My whole thing is this. I mean, I grew up, I'm younger than Worry, but at the same time, I kind of get where he's coming from a little bit, and I'll explain it. I think that, let's go in order. Let's name them what they are. 4, 5, and 6, the Luke years. Those are the ones that I grew up on. Now, I will say this. You made a good point. You said, the lightsabers are faster in 1, 2, and 3. Well, of course, we were dealing with newer technology, but that aside, the way that they made being the Jedi thing in 4, 5, and 6 was more becoming. It was like he had to become this thing, and so when it happened, and plus as a kid, like we didn't see a whole lot of things like floating in the air. So when he puts his hand out and something moves, I don't remember, when was the first one made? Do you know the dates of the first 4, 5, and 6?
1977 was 4, 1980 was 5, and 83 was 6.
So I was not born yet when the first one, you know what I mean? Like, but I mean, I was there. I watched them more when I was like, the early 90s I got into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but it was still pretty nostalgic for me to see that. And then when the new ones came out, listen, this has got nothing to do with Star Wars. This is a sidebar chat, but I don't like prequels. I never did. Like, I hate going to a movie or watching anything where I know how it ends. Like, to me, that's just like, why are we doing this? I know. Sometimes it's cool to see it, and they did do a good job of that. But the one I loved of the first 3 that you liked, Crap, I liked the third one.
It was the best. I mean, it was like you could tell they busted their ass for that lightsaber battle at the end. Like they were really doing that. No stunts. Like I remember just being really, and that was like, I saw that with my little brother who's like 10 years younger than me. And this was 2005. That was his first movie. Like I took him to that, you know what I mean?
That was a great
Star Wars. Yeah. Like the first one I liked, that was the first one I seen in theaters. And then, and then after that one came out, then they reran 4, 5, and 6 in theaters, and then I saw them, and then I became, I had more of appreciation. But it was like a lot of people would complain, oh, Jar Jar was stupid and he was a stereotype for this or that. I'm like, well, what do you think 3PO is? To me, 3PO was always just like a homosexual stereotype that was like scared of everything. You know what I mean? Like, oh my, you know what I mean? Like to me, I thought he was a bit annoying. I actually saw episode 1 in 3D. Remember it came out like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
And then I thought Jar Jar was a little bit annoying the second time around. I saw it, right? I was like, yeah, I can see that a little bit. I still like it. Like Qui-Gon Jinn was my favorite character.
Well,
I thought, I thought he was really, Yeah, so I thought it was really well done, and I understand people like the green screen thing. People get tired of those kind of effects, so I'm happy to see them go back to some practical effects too.
Right.
You know, I like that. I like them using the old cast. I never thought they'd get Harrison Ford to go back and play that character. You know what I mean? But I'm thrilled that they got it back, and it was cool seeing him at the end. I totally realized that a lot of people are probably going to be disappointed because this is really about the new cast or whatever.
Yeah.
And they probably don't play giant parts in it, but just kind of cool. Like you remember how did you see the new Star Trek reboot, the first one?
Yeah.
Spock. I thought like that wouldn't have worked as well without Leonard Nimoy coming back to play that role.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
good. I don't know if I don't know if it was necessary, but because like I grew up, I saw all of them growing up. Like my dad was a huge fan of that, but like. Did they have to do that? I'm not sure. Did I think it was cool? I thought it was nostalgic. I thought that was really cool to bring in that piece. So that's what they're doing here. I think actually the Star Wars people are doing a better job bringing in the old characters than what the Star Trek people did.
Yeah.
But I still think the two Star Trek movies were very good. I thought it brought a younger crowd in too, like people who don't know what the 60s show was, Although I'll tell you right now, nobody ever to this day is this crazy. Like I loved it when someone step in and take over. Like the new guy who played Spock was amazing. I thought, but I didn't think that the new Kirk was good. But it was like a new guy. Like nobody's Bill Shatner. Bill Shatner is just a classic.
I kind of hate to admit it. Look, when I was a kid, right, I used to watch it because it was on reruns, and I had my mom sew a Star Trek insignia on my shirt, so I was always walking around with one, right, because I thought it was cool. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know any better. You know what I mean? Like the guy used to do like double-handed punches on people. I was like. Yeah, I just thought it was fantastic, and I remember
Shatner's out of his mind, man. He's even to today, he's crazy.
He's on
roast everything, man. The
dude, he's on. So I follow him on Twitter. He like tweets live shows, like he like does live commentary tweets to like different shows on TV. Right. It's like really cool. You know what I mean? It's like really interesting. That's what social media to me is all about. It's like the interaction. Like when they re-announced that the X-Files was coming back, right? David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson start tweeting each other back and forth, like, I hope the suit still fits. And I mean, that's epic. You know what I mean?
That's great. It is great. That's why to me, I don't have Facebook. I don't have Facebook, but Twitter to me is a powerful, amazing thing. Like I have reached out. I've spoke to people like me and my wife watch a lot of like Food Network. We watch a lot of like HGTV stuff. That's what married people do. But like, so like we watch that and like you reach out to people while their shows are on and they actually answer you back. I'm talking to people that are on TV. I had Donald Trump write me back one time, retweet something. It's just amazing to see how you can reach out and actually the world has become so small, and that's what's cool about Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I enjoy that a lot. What did you think of the Star Wars trailer today? Did you like that?
I thought it was very good. I thought one review that I saw nailed it, and it was how I felt. It was great because they showed you almost nothing. What I mean, so like it was so good. Because it showed the points. You wanted to see the old characters, check. You wanted to see some of the high, like the graphical and effects they're going to do, check. A couple of one-liners from Han Solo or a nostalgic character, check. Other than that, I have no idea what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? It's
I can almost guarantee you what we saw is all very early on.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I think I heard some places say that as well. What I really liked, it was like the small details, like the Millennium Falcon looked really run down. You know what I mean? Like that was something like whenever I watched George Lucas talk about Star Wars, he always said he wanted it to look like people lived there. You know, like how a lot of places where you're in space, like Star Trek does that, where it doesn't look lived in. Everything's shiny.
Yeah, everything's like a hospital. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Not static. Oh shit!
It's clean. It's
neat. It's just very, very the way like
it's sterile.
Sterile. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very sterile, and so I liked it there. And it was like you see that giant Star Destroyer that the Millennium Falcon is like flying through. I mean, like those little things. Like you get to see the new bad guys, the Chrome Stormtroopers. Like I'm like trying to figure out. Like I don't like I said this on Twitter, and I thought somebody maybe thought I was being racist, but I said the black guy that's in the Stormtrooper outfit. They keep showing him without his helmet, and he's out of breath every time.
Yeah,
right. I'm like, is that some? Are they trying to tell you something? Like, I'm not trying to be like any way about that, but is that he seems to be always on his run or confused, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think he's a huge role moving forward. So
he's a main cast member. And I have to just wonder, like, what his role, maybe like I don't know. I think it's cool that they make you think that, like, originally you might think, whoa, maybe he's like a episode 4 type deal where he's disguised as a stormtrooper or whatever, but I don't think that's it.
I wonder if he's gonna. I don't know. I wonder if they're gonna, like, he's gonna be a major role player, which is cool. I'm wondering if, see, everyone automatically is taking the words that Luke says, and they showed the picture of the stormtrooper, and they're thinking I'm thinking he may be one of the Sith Lords. You know what I mean? Like, he may be one of the bad guys, because they like to do that with Star Wars. They're not just
or when he talks about his sister having the Force, and you think that maybe that was Leia getting a lightsaber.
Right.
I don't know if that's going to be true or not. I have no idea, but I'm interested to find out, man. I'm excited. Let me ask you this: are you going to watch that in 3D or 2D?
That's a fantastic question, and I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to answer it today, and then I'm probably going to last minute change my mind and do the opposite. But today I would like to say 2D, because I'm not blown away with 3D at all. Every time I go see the last 3D movie, I think I went to go see was the Superman movie, and like
I saw that 3D too.
I'm just at the point where it's. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I get like sick or anything like that. I just get.
It gives you a headache. It gives you a headache. Yeah, like I'll find myself like popping the glasses off and kind of rubbing my eyes.
Yeah,
like I get like that. But I will say this: I saw Star Trek, the second one, in 3D, and I thought that was pretty good because it had some space and stuff. Like, I can imagine that would be one that would be pretty good in 3D.
But some of it isn't, some of it isn't though. Crap, you know what I mean? Like, some of it's like. Do you remember when we were younger and we went to, like? Do you ever go to any of the Friday the 13th movies in the theater when it was in 3D? You ever seen those when we were kids? Like,
yeah.
Well, the thing is listen, they didn't have the money to make the game or the movie to make it so like today where everything's in 3D. So like they used to have like a knife, and like the Jason character would like point at the screen and like stick the knife out. And of course it was cheesier. It was 1990 or something like that.
Yeah.
But the thing that was cool about it is the knife would actually pierce through and like come at you like right to your face. Now 3D is not like that anymore. Now 3D is just like it's like looking through. It's like looking through one of those 3D projectors with the slide on the side. Everything around you is just popped out and bubbled.
Yeah, it gives it depth. Right, that's what it is. Like you want it to pop out a little bit more.
I want it to come at me, like freak me out or do something at my face where I twitch. 3D movies are not like that at all. All 3D movies are, like you say, depth. So like there's the trees when they're walking by are actually just like more towards you, and they're further back, or vice versa. And like I don't need to sit 2.5 hours with these plastic things digging into my nose. I don't wear glasses. You know what I mean? So it's like it's just. I don't know. For me, I don't think it's the good doesn't outweigh the bad.
Well, what's funny is when I went and saw Star Wars Episode 1 when they converted it to 3D, and I thought, oh, this will be cool. Some of those, those things will be in 3D. It'll look really cool. And then it was just a depth kind of 3D.
Right.
And it was like, I was like kind of disappointed with that. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, not only is Jar Jar more annoying than I remembered, but it's not like popping out 3D like it should be. It's just like depth. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know. But I think maybe it might be cool since it's doing some flying stuff. I don't know, but I'm definitely interested in, check it out to see.
If you want to see a crap, go watch it in 2D and enjoy it, and then go watch it again in 3D. Like, honestly, I don't think your first experience should be in 3D with that. I really don't. I think there's gonna be a lot more like a lot of this is gonna be. There's gonna be some cool action scenes. But like a lot of this movie is going to be a lot of explanation. You know what I mean? Like what's going on, building up a story. It's going to be two people sitting down talking a lot of stuff. I don't think you have to like see somebody's coffee cup in 3D like closer to you. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if that's like that big of a deal. I don't know. I would say I would recommend to people who are thinking that is go see it in 2D, and then if you really loved it, like then go see it in 3D. I don't know. That's just my take.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. Like for me, like maybe you might feel like this, but it's like I never get tired. And I mentioned it earlier, Forza Horizon and Forza. I'm glad that those are bi-yearly. You know what I'm saying? Like every other year, it gives them 2 years to work on them, which is fine. That's a good dev time, right?
Yes.
If you want to look at it, the Uncharted games were actually 2 years apart, the first 3 or whatever. Gears of War, a lot of things are like that, and they're great. I'm never going to get tired. Like people are like, oh, it's too much Star Wars. I'm like, you can't really have too much Star Wars. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm excited for it. Like they're doing it, they're going to do episode 7 and then a standalone movie, then episode 8, and then a standalone movie, episode 9 and a standalone movie. You know what I mean? I like it. If it's done well, then, or that, you know, and they might be different. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing the Boba Fett movie, or hey, Ewan McGregor said he'd come back and play Obi-Wan. You know, Obi-Wan did other shit while he, you know what I'm saying? He's still a young guy, you know what I mean? Put him in some makeup and a, you know, a beard or whatever, and I think that'd be kick-ass.
That's actually cool. And that's the same thing they do with they have X-Men, then they had a Wolverine, then they did X-Men 2, then they did another Wolverine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Origins. And like that's the way. Then they did Days of Future Past and Days of Future Past 2. Like that's a really good idea to keep the Star Wars like fan base like alive, and it diverts from the main story enough to where you're interested and it doesn't get old. You know what I mean? Like that's why the X-Men movies, to me personally, I'm a huge fan. Like X-Men doesn't get old to me because
you didn't like X-Men Last Stand, I bet.
The Last Stand wasn't great, but all right. No.
Here's the hold on. I'll say this about the Last Stand, right? Like you had, like here's this ultimate X-Men team. Let's kill off Cyclops in the first 10 minutes. Let's kill off Professor X. Let's have Kitty Pryde in there. You know what I mean? I was like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean?
that was. Yeah, you're right.
Like the Phoenix Saga should have been like a 3-movie arc. You know what I mean? Like the cartoon. I don't know if you used to watch that in the 90s. You might have been a little bit older. Like they did the Phoenix Saga right, and then it was like fantastic. But it's like, but I really like the newer X-Men stuff too. Like I like where they went with that.
This is great. The only thing I always said was Days of Future Past. The last one that just came out was phenomenal. The first one there, like my only grief was they picked all these mutants with like the most uninteresting powers. Like one spits, one screams loud, you know, one burps. I was like, dude, listen, like, you got to pick some of the more like amazing mutants. Like they just pick these random mutants. Like some of the enemy ones were cool, but the ones that were actually fighting with Magneto at the time and Professor X, they were just awful. Like they were terrible.
Plus the whole thing where they can like not be mutants by taking an injection, and then where'd Nightcrawler go? I mean, he was really good in the second one.
Where'd Nightcrawler go? He was
where'd the hell Nightcrawler go? You know what I mean? I was like so pissed off. And then me, like growing up, you know, like I grew up with an older brother and younger brother. My favorite character was Gambit. Where the hell is Gambit in all the movies? He's
Gambit, and I remember the old SNES X-Men game where you were Gambit, and like for a good third of the game you were him, and it was phenomenal.
There was a Genesis game called X-Men where you could be gay. It was fantastic. Like
I think it's the same game actually we're talking about.
Yeah, and then you know, and then plus if it wasn't Gambit, I like Cyclops too, and it was like really that they made those movies should have been called Wolverine and the X-Men or something, because it was like all Wolverine.
It was all
I mean, I get it, the guy's a badass or whatever, it's cool, but it's like, damn man, come on, give some of the other people some good lines or something.
I'm with you, but for some reason even the comics used to do that. Like Wolverine, even when it was X-Men, Wolverine was the star in every freaking episode. So you just that for some, maybe it's because I grew up reading those as a kid in like 6th grade and going to all those comic things. Like that was cool. Like the X-Men, when you think X-Men, it's just Wolverine. He's the star of the show. They try not to do that, but it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. We all pretty much been at almost an hour and a half, man. And since that's a long ass talk, man. But anyway, man, I want to thank you for coming in and, you know, shooting the shit a little bit, talking to NPDs and Sony and whatnot, and you know, kind of variation from that, just Star Wars. You know, I like all this kind of nerd stuff, so it's kind of cool to be able to talk with that. I know Next Gen wouldn't be happy with no Star Wars talk. He'd be but he can't hate because he likes that weird Game of Thrones stuff, man. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? I know. Like a lot of people like that stuff. I've never even seen an episode.
I will recommend that you should watch that crap.
I mean, I hear it's really good, but I mean, I played the game, like the Telltale game. I really like that.
Yeah.
I figure if I actually saw the show that I'd like it. It's just that I have to pick and choose because it's like I work and then I get, you know, and then I got to get some gaming in, and it's like a lot of times I'll just
well, see, that's what's nice about this is, and don't get me wrong, because you have to catch up. You have to actually take a few weeks to catch up and watch the four prior seasons. But except for the catch-up factor, what's nice about getting into something like this, see, I'm not into, like, there's people right now that are watching like 20 different TV shows. I'm watching one per like run. So like right now we got Walking. See, that's why I think it works out perfect. I'm into Walking Dead. So Walking Dead ended. This picks up. Then Walking Dead picks up again in October. I'm good. Like that's it. I don't really go into 80 different things. The only thing that I did start watching, that I'll say, but because it's Netflix, I can choose.
Daredevil.
Still want a Daredevil, and I'm enjoying it.
Daredevil is really good. Okay, like I'm almost the same way. I watch there's a few shows that I watch, like try to watch live, and I watch Arrow, and I like the Flash.
See, I didn't get into those. Not because I don't like the character. I just, again, like you said, if I start picking all of these things up, and you pick up Gotham and this and that,
yeah.
like
And I watched Gotham, but actually, you know what happened with Gotham was I fell behind a few episodes, but I know that's going to be on Netflix after the first season's over anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I actually like Arrow is probably one of my favorite. Like they really did a gritty, good job with that.
Okay.
It's probably, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I think it's fantastic. And I like the Flash too. I think that they did a good job with that too. It's like, I'm really impressed with that. The Daredevil thing, I think is fantastic. And, you know, there's other shows that I always wanted to get into. Like I like the Marvel stuff, like the Agents, Marvel, Shield or whatever. Like I hear good things, but I haven't, you know, really gotten around to watching it.
Right, that's the whole thing. And like you said, unfortunately, let's be honest, in our lives right now where we are, time's of the essence. So I do like to play some gaming too. So if I'm going to
exactly, it's like should I? You know, it's like I made time to watch this game watch a movie called A Million Ways to Die in the West by, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's got Seth MacFarlane who does the Family Guy stuff.
Oh yeah, no,
it's like a comedy western. It was like the funniest goddamn thing I've seen. You know what I mean? And it's like. Yeah, like you would probably like that because it's got a lot of like really good humor. Like, you know, I guess some people thought it was kind of racist or whatever, but I thought it was hilarious. You know, I mean, imagine that.
Imagine that crap.
Yeah, but trust me, you would really get a kick out of it, man. It's like some of the shit. Like I like jokes that pay off like a half hour, 40 minutes later. And one of the ones like he hates living in the West. Like it's like, and he's like goes on this long rant about all the stuff that can kill you in the West, right? And when he's like in his bar with his friends or this saloon, right? And he's like, yeah, he goes, you know, I had this fever once and I went to the doctor and he was like, yeah, you need a nail in your ear. He's like, a fucking nail in my ear. He's like, that's modern medicine. And then later he gets like this cut on his face. He goes, yeah, this girl goes, you should go to the doctor about that. He goes, that's funny. He goes, like, I'd go there and the doctor would be like, hey, that looks like it hurts. And he'd probably give me like a Blue Jay to peck out all the blood. And then about 40 minutes later, he's at the doctor and the doctor's fucking holding a Blue Jay while it's pecking out of the fucking blood. It was like, you know, I just busted out laughing. It's like crazy shit like that really like I enjoy it. And it's like, I don't get to watch like the movies and shit that I, you know, like sometimes I have to sit down and like remember to like, hey, you don't have to game every damn day.
Right, right. Well, you know what, though? You feel like it depends. If you're really getting into something, or like tonight, like there's a bunch of people I know that want to play Titanfall. It's like if I don't get on, I kind of feel bad because I definitely want to play. But at the same time, like you said, there's so many other things that are like I've been put on the back burner. You put them on the back burner. You put them on the back burner. And like you said, sometimes you get so far behind, you just let it go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really easy to do. But anyway, I want to thank you for you know, doing this and everybody that watched, man. We had pretty close to 100 there earlier on. So
yeah, we did.
I mean, that's pretty good just for kind of spur of the moment thing, you know, but anyway, appreciate it.
Listening, man. Absolutely.
Thanks for listening. And we'll still be doing the Sunday thing on Next Gen's channel. So make sure you guys check that out too.
Yep. Peace.